Alex woke up as the blaring alarm shattered his dream. For a few futile moments, he tried to get back to it, still remembering everything vividly. Normally, he would never remember his dreams. Maybe it was because he usually slept longer and didn't wake up in the middle of a dream, Alex wondered. Today, his lessons would start with business culture and management, a class he hated because it had no relevance to his experience. Groaning, he got up from his bed. He had only slept for a little over 3 hours, way too short. For a moment, his vision blurred and pixelated. He was so tired. He quickly hit the shower and turned the water to cold for a brief moment. Yikes! He hoped it would wake him up, but he still felt sluggish. Every step he took sent tiny explosions of pain through his head, as if his brain were protesting against the lack of sleep. Alex knew the feeling well. He often stayed up gaming too long, sometimes skipping sleep altogether. With great difficulty, he dragged himself through his classes. The hardest was his math class. His math teacher must be of Italian descent. He spat out words faster than a machine gun. Worse, the math didn't compare to his high school classes at all. It was almost as if he had missed a year or something. At home, he knew he should try to catch up with his math and other homework. He should. But instead, he turned on his computer and started his favorite game. Never Lose 85 was on the prowl, and he would leave no survivors. Only taking a break to order a pizza, he ate while playing the game. His desk was littered with empty energy drink cans that helped him stay at his peak. As the night progressed, he finally managed to shake off his exhaustion and kept playing, winning. There wasn't much new in the strategies he and his opponents employed. His mind began to wander to the dream he had and how much he would love to continue it. Something new. Slowly, he dozed off, his head on the keyboard. Again, he started to feel cold, an unpleasant sensation that, at the same time, felt oddly welcoming. Everything turned dark again, and again the tiny light started to approach him. Come on, Alex thought, ready to go all in. This time, however, he was presented with a choice between two maps. Choose, said the robotic voice, now somewhat familiar sounding. The first was a snow-filled landscape, dotted with hills and mining nodes scattered throughout, promising a resource-heavy ground battle. The second map featured two large land masses in opposite corners, connected by a long, narrow strip of land. It suggested a blend of naval and land warfare. As Alex's mind raced as he weighed the strategic possibilities each map offered, the countdown timer started ticking down. Was this a feature of the game? Or was it his opponent trying to force him into battle before ready? He did not care. He was Never Lose 85. Quickly, Alex decided on the map with water. In his previous game, he had seen the nuclear impacts deforming the map and creating water-filled holes. Moreover, he had also seen some options on his building units he had no time to explore last time. Now would be as good a time as ever. He quickly selected it, and the robotic voice responded, "Welcome to scenario #2B. Prove your mettle or be returned." Yeah, that, Alex thought, absent-minded. His mind focused on how he would try to win this one. Next, he selected the recon commander. The grayed-out commanders were still unavailable to him. He did notice his rank was increased to 2 now. On the weapon screen, a new option was available. He could add a torpedo launcher. Alex decided against it. For his plan that just now was shaping up, he needed to rush the middle and hold it for just long enough. The riot gun would do, hopefully. The last selection was for the advanced modules. Stealth might not work this time. The narrow strip is too hard to navigate unseen. He chose armor, hoping he could just last long enough to make his plan work. With only 1 second on the timer left, Alex entered the battlefield and put down a standard vehicle factory. The scenario started and Alex continued to create some economy while moving to the middle. Soon the first construction vehicles rolled out of the factory, and most of them he commanded to build additional economy. The first, however, he moved to the side where he had the best access to water. He assumed his opponent would do the same. Each side had access to both oceans, but only one side was easily defendable, and the other might endure attacks from the other's defendable side. With the narrow strip of land, their navies were likely to be separated. But not if it goes my way, Alex grinned, racing his commander and first combat units to the middle. The first enemies appeared, scout vehicles that closed in at high speed, moving in erratic ways to avoid long-range fire. Alex stopped building the matter mine he was working on and switched to first-person perspective and unloaded his weapon at short range, taking little damage from the light enemy vehicles, seeing them torn in pieces and scatter up in the air with satisfying explosions. A few construction vehicles followed by combat units also arrived in the middle time to execute his plan. Meanwhile, enemy gunships started to harass him and his units. Having no air support himself, Alex frantically started to build stationary anti-air defenses everywhere. That should keep them at bay for a while, hopefully long enough. Just when the first few defenses became operational, enemy bombers appeared and got shot down. He would hold, but he could see that it would not last long. If his enemy amassed his air units, he was in danger of being overrun. Far away from the front, he built a hovercraft factory. Smiling, he thought about giving the enemy air units the stare as he set construction to the heavy anti-air units it could manufacture on repeat. On the front, he ordered his builders to start digging. Yes, digging? Alex thought, filled with happiness. An option that he had never seen before in the many RTS-style games he played. While slowly a trench started to appear that cut through the narrow sliver of land, he saw his energy production stall, overwhelmed by the huge resource cost of digging. Factories started to stall, diminishing the output of units that defended his crumbling front. Oh no! No, 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 Alex thought, struggling to redirect his builders to compensate for the lack of energy. This is going to be tight. Struggling to hold the front, Alex's commander started to take more and more damage. The stream of units he sent to the front was slowly being chewed up by the advancing enemy who was sending heavier and heavier land units. Enemy cruisers already started to appear in the distance. Soon they would be shelling the shores he was working on. Alex skipped building those, going for a battleship right away. Desperately, Alex started to micromanage his units to avoid some of the damage. He needed to hold on just a bit longer. Finally, his battleship moved out of the harbor. Relieved, Alex queued a construction ship to assist with the digging of the trench that would divide the two big land masses. Alex almost felt like he was sweating while still being cold. Cold sweat. I'm in the zone, he thought, while retreating his commander from the relentless fire from the enemy cruisers. Smoking and alarms notifying him of the dangerously low health of his commander, he just managed to get out of their range and the cruisers changed fire on his front units. Quickly, the cruisers dispatched his frontline construction units. Then his battleship started to unload its big guns on the cruisers from the other side. The first cruiser sunk before the enemy even reacted. The others were withdrawing just far enough to allow him to put his construction ship to work to complete the trench. This was close, Alex muttered. Maybe too close. Would my plan still work? With glee, Alex observed his battleships taking out the heavy enemy tanks, a huge investment that now no longer possessed any threat. Next came wave after wave of air units that his hovercraft dispatched. Slowly but surely he started to push his navy through the trench. Submarines first, then destroyers to counter potential enemy subs, and a mix of battleships and hovercrafts following them. Not a minute later, he was laying his enemy's naval forces low and destroying the harbors that constructed them. Quickly continuing his path of destruction on everything near the shore, he saw enemy units tossed high in the air by the impacts of the huge battleship shells. A message was shown at the bottom of his vision. Cheater. Alex grinned. He was used to being called that. He was never lose 85. It did not surprise him that the battlefield vanished and everything turned dark for a moment. They always give up after that, he thought. Rank +1 was the last he saw before his infernal alarm clock started to blare again. Again he felt too tired to get up, but he felt more satisfied than he had been in ages.